You need to click got it to make that go away. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the opening event for our 2022 exhibition, and a very good evening to you all. Welcome to all our members, their families and friends, guests from clubs around the region and elsewhere around the UK, the exhibition selectors, our sponsors, and particularly our distinguished guest, the Right Worshipful the Mayor of Cambridge, Councillor Russ Macpherson, who I'm delighted to say we're welcoming for the second consecutive year. Now, Cambridge Camera Club was established in 1902, and it's one of the largest clubs within East Anglia, and in fact within the UK, with over 200 active members. Most of us are amateurs, although some do some professional work and some are full-time professional photographers. Our overarching club ethos is focused on education for all our members. So, although we do hold traditional weekly camera club meetings between September and May with talks and competitions, much of our activity is actually done throughout the year within our specialist interest groups. And these hold practical workshops, critique and portrait evenings, technical sessions, including Lightroom and Photoshop training and other software packages. And we also give guidance to those working towards photographic distinctions, such as from the Royal Photographic Society. And anyone who's interested in joining the club should check our website for further details. We do usually have a small waiting list, but it's not for too long normally. The plan for this evening is that in the first section, I'll just now give some more background to our exhibition and also acknowledge our sponsors. And next, we'll hear from our member Jane Moore about the Young Photographer competition, and we'll enjoy seeing their award-winning images. For our club members' images, we actually have two sets of awards. First, we'll hear from our generous sponsors. We'll see 5 of the images that each of them rated highly, and then they'll talk about the image to which they each gave their award. And then I'll call upon Mr. Mayor, Councillor Macpherson, to talk a little about his favourite highly rated images and announce his favourite. And then call on him to declare the exhibition formally open. That's not the end of the evening, though. In the end of the first part of the evening, Ian Wilson, who's actually responsible for creating our club website, through which we're enjoying this evening, will give a brief guided tour of the online exhibition to show you all how the images can be enjoyed at your leisure in future. We'll then have a short comfort break, with a couple of with a video and with a video and a slideshow. And then we'll have the second part of the evening, in which we'll show the second set of awarded images. And these have been chosen by our external selectors. Each of them will talk about those that won the various classifications, such as the best images in nature, travel, and people categories, plus the overall projected digital image of the year. So that's the plan, and we expect to end before 9 o'clock. So first, a few words from me on background to the event. Now, those of you in camera clubs, Cambridge, and I know around the country, will not be surprised to know that the pandemic caused us in Cambridge major challenges and resulted in cancellation, actually at very short notice really, of our traditional 2020 in-person exhibition, which would have included 250 large prints, as well as about the same number or more of projected images. However, ably led by Jonathan Vaines, my predecessor as president, club activities moved largely online, and it must be said, in some ways they've blossomed. Thanks to the hard work, particularly of Gabby Barnard, who coordinates this event, and Ian Wilson, we actually held a very successful online exhibition last year. And we've built further on that experience And so here we are at this online projected image exhibition for 2022, which includes over 330 images chosen by our external selector panel. Now, our exhibition could not be here without the generous support of our sponsors. And these are the Cambridge Independent, Camkin's Camera Store in Cambridge, Domino Printers, John Lewis and Partners, Olympus Cameras, Ritter Sound Store, Samsung, and Scottsdale's. And we're extremely grateful to them for their support. Now, let's move on to the next section. With education at the heart of our club, it's fitting that we encourage the future photographer. So, in partnership with the Rotary Club of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, we support a national competition for young photographers. We also judge our young photographer element of this competition, and John Lewis and Partners generously sponsor an award in this area. I'll now hand you over to our member, Jane Moore, who will explain more of the background and oversee the announcement of the winners. Jane.
Thank you, Mark. Cambridge Camera Club have always encouraged young people to explore photography, with prints from members' children and grandchildren being shown at the annual exhibition, along others from local schools. In parallel, the Rotary Club in Cambridge also run a separate competition for young photographers. And 3 years ago, it was decided to merge the two activities. The Young Photographers competition is now organised by Cambridge Rotary that offers winners the chance to enter Rotary's district and national levels. The Camera Club provides support and display the entries as part of its annual exhibition. And both Camkin's and Cambridge Independent, long-term supporters of the event, continue their active sponsorship. The Rotary competition aims to encourage young people to experiment with photography using digital or traditional methods. And as phone images are accepted, it's an opportunity for everyone to take part. Participants must express their ideas through this medium, interpreting their views on a set of topic, and they are encouraged to be creative. We all see things differently. This year, entrants were asked to produce one photograph based on the theme Colours of Nature. Winners of our local competition then progressed to district level, and this year 2 of them were successful and are now contestants at national level. There are 4 age groups: infant under 7, junior 7 to 10, intermediate 11 to 13, and senior 14 to 17. This year's winners are under 7, winner Maria Seeger, Purple Iris. There's only one winner in this section because there were very few that entered this particular age group. 7 to 10 years, commended Freddie Hiscock, Are You Liking This? Highly commended Jamie Bloor, Wicken Fen. And the winner, Horatio Martin, Untitled, but also District Junior winner. (11 to 13 years), commended Ethan Martin, Untitled. Highly commended Nadine Mills Kelly, Autumnal Colours. And the winner, Madeline Haley, Colours of Nature. Then the 14 to 17 years, commended Holly Cook, Nature's Sunrise. Highly commended Daria Schmatko, Meadow of Tranquility. And the winner, Daisy Dickinson, Evening Colour of August, also a district senior winner. Congratulations to all of you. Prizes were awarded from our sponsors, John Lewis and Partners and Campkins Cameras on Saturday, 23rd of April. Sorry. I will now pass the baton to Christine Shaw, Community Liaison Coordinator from John Lewis and Partners, who will announce the partner's choice.
Thank you very much, Jane. For starters, the one thing that happened was we received these photos. We have an internal website on our intranet, and I put them up there to show our partners. And I was instantly told, this is the most difficult thing you've ever asked us to do, was to judge this lot. What are we supposed to do? So we then put them up on another board in our dining room. And I have to say that the John Lewis Cambridge dining room does need a bit of cheering up. And I have to say these photos are absolutely brilliant at doing that job. We then did various other things. And eventually I managed to persuade people, sorry guys, you just have to choose. We're in Cambridge, we have to choose. These photos are absolutely fantastic. We were blown away by the fact that they're all done by youngsters. And I don't think there's many people in our shop who could handle a camera the way that these guys have done. They're absolutely brilliant. However, there does have to be a winner. And the overall winner that we went for in the end was Daisy Dickinson's one. I think one of the reasons that we chose that was not only because it's an amazing picture, but with all the various lockdowns that we've all been through, it just portrayed exactly what everybody felt. That the one really good thing would be just to get away to a sunset on a beautiful area and be as stunning as that photo. And Daisy, I have to say, it's absolutely brilliant and we absolutely loved it. So John Lewis Cambridge are utterly behind that photo. And there is actually, we have actually kept it up in our dining room now. So yeah, so I'm very pleased to announce that that is the overall winner and that is our partner's choice and it's brilliant. Thank you. I'll hand you back.
Great, thank you very much indeed, Jane and Christine. Yeah, well, terrific images, and I really enjoyed looking at those. Particular thanks to John Lewis and Partners for sponsoring the partner's choice there, and that will have brightened your room, I'm sure. So now we move on to our club sponsors awards, and for each of these we'll first show 5 images that the sponsor rated highly before they reveal the winner, about which they'll say a few words. We'll start off with Keith Heppel, who's picture editor of the Cambridge Independent and of ILIF Media Limited, and incidentally also a member of our club. He'll be talking about the images from the People and Street and Reportage Award. And we'll start off with the 5 favoured images first.
So we have Onward by Bob Coote, The Race by Clive Downs, Hold On Tight by David Bonham, The Final Lap by John Bulpitt, Tea for Two by Jenny Collier, and the overall winner, which is Water Angel by Chris Worrell. I'm rather hoping that Keith is there somewhere.
And are you muted, Keith?
Oh, yes, I am. Sorry, right, there we go. There we go. So it was a pleasure, as always, to be involved with the Camera Club on whether being a member or a sponsor looking at the images. And the selection of images across the table from everybody involved in the club is always exceptional, and it's always a delight to look through the myriad of different sort of examples that we have. And it was difficult as ever, and Paul Brackley, the editor, and myself sort of did spend a considerable amount of time choosing some that I liked, some that Paul liked, and we sort of kept filtering them down to the 5 that you've just been going through. And it was difficult to choose to, you know, the one sort of ultimate image. But I think Chris, with the canoe picture, it was just a different angle, and it was just nicely observed. To capture it at that moment is not easy. There's fast running water, the guy's looking up at the camera, whether Chris sort of shouted at him or whatever, depends on how he managed to achieve it. But nonetheless, it was just an image captured which was different. It had all the various elements going for it, technically good, capturing the moment, and equally just spotting the opportunity to actually get the position to take the picture in the first place. So it was just what we felt was warranted as the recipient of the trophy this year round. And but I do have to say, exceptional images as always, and congrats to all the club members, not just those getting any trophies or awards tonight.
Great, thank you very much indeed, Keith. Now I welcome Francois Rousseau, who works at Camkin's Camera Store in Cambridge, who've awarded a Monochrome trophy. So here are first of the 5 they rated highly.
Okay, so we have The Night Porter by Clive Downs, Over the Top by Sarah Kellman, Imperious Gaze by Alan Hale, Sustainability by Malcolm Brown, Barn Owl Hunting at Night by Nick Bowman, and their overall winner, Venezuelan Heroes by Chris Fell.
Yeah, once again, it's great to be with the club again this evening. We really enjoy being involved. For me personally, this is the 2nd year that I've seen the images, and we're always gobsmacked at the quality of the images that come out. One of the things that I particularly like about this image is the expressions on the faces. These boys are about to capsize that kayak and they know it, and it shows in their faces. Really enjoy that part of it. Also, there's some motion in the water. It conveys the action in the shot. So very well done to the photographer. And yeah, we hope to see more of these next year.
Very good, thank you, Francois, and thank you for your support. And now I'd like to welcome Jeremy Jones, who is Group Marketing Director of Domino Printers, and they award a trophy for company culture. And so here are the 5 images that they liked.
Okay, so we have Tattoos, Piercings and Hair by Farooq Kara, Ringmaster by Philip Earle, A Hard Life by Vivian Houghton, Bling by Clive Downs, The Batwa Chief's Wife by Philip Gravett, and their overall winner, Calm Amidst Chaos by Chris Worrell.
Thanks for the intro. I'm starting to detect a little bit of a theme in the winners with quite a few water sports associated. So I'm sorry if we're becoming a little bit predictable. Thank you for the intro, Mark. Yes, I'm Jeremy Jones. I'm the Global Marketing Director at Domino. We're not a household name. So for those of you who don't know us, we're a technology company headquartered in Bar Hill, which is just a short distance outside Cambridge, with about 3,000 people around the globe in subsidiary offices and manufacturing locations. We're a regular sponsor and we love supporting your competition. A little bit like Christine says, it brightens up our year each time we're involved. Sadly, few of us at Domino can profess to be photographic experts in any way. And so we tend to look for an image that in some way reflects our corporate values, as we said, of collaboration, listening, expertise, ambition, and responsibility, while also ideally mirroring sort of recent experiences as a business. My small challenge is then getting all the creative brains at Domino's global marketing team to agree on the aspects of the images, and that's made more difficult by the fact that particularly this year they're extremely high standard, all of them. Just echoing what Christine said earlier about the pandemic, it's been a difficult couple of years really for businesses all over, coping with all sorts of disruptions, first from the people impacts of COVID, followed by the supply chain issues, and then more recently, obviously, the geopolitical impact of the dreadful situation in Ukraine. Throughout all of this, at Domino, we've been very proud of how our team has kept a level head, confident in the application of our expertise and overcoming the chaos around us, such as helping keep essential businesses running throughout the pandemic, not just the food and beverage companies, but also those distributing vaccines and test kits. This image absolutely encapsulated that idea of keeping the level head in the midst of chaos. And we were really impressed with the composition and framing, but the most striking aspect for us was that real essence of calmness in the face and eyes of the subject in spite of the raging torrents around them. And we really felt that the expertise and ambition was palpable in the image and came across very strongly for everyone. And so we absolutely loved the image, and we were delighted to make it our choice for 2022. And many congratulations to Chris.
Jeremy, thank you very much indeed. Yes, that was, I would say, beautifully described. Yes, I've already booked a few canoe photography sessions for next year in the hope I can get a few more images in next year's exhibition. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Thank you so much for that. Now, unfortunately, Mark Thakkara, who's Content and Community Senior Manager, OM Digital Solutions for Olympus Cameras, isn't able to be with us this evening and present their and talk about their Landscape Award. But I'm glad to say my glamorous assistant, Andrew Colgan from the club, will be able to stand in for him. So we'll now see the 5 images that Olympus particularly enjoyed.
So we have Chroma Pier in Winter by Philip Earle, Stowe Park Infrared by Ken Bingham, Buckle Etif Moor by Andrew Colgan, A View to Nowhere by John McDowell, The Final Resting Place by Nick Murrell, and their overall winner, Loch Rannoch by John McDowell.
Recently spun out of Olympus Corporation's imaging business, OM Digital Solutions is now the home of their popular digital camera ranges, lenses, and other consumer imaging services. Their OM and OMD camera systems are now so popular, in fact, that they're brandished in exhibition headshots by camera club presidents all over Cambridge. Mark Thakkara, Senior Manager of Marketing and Comms for EMEA, US, and Australia, gave us the following feedback. As we all know, photography is a very subjective art. One person's preference does not always match another's. All the images we selected were very strong, but in the end, I chose an image that I had a connection with and made me feel something. This image of Loch Rannoch by John McDowell perfectly captured the tranquility of the scene with a lovely balance of minimalist foreground and a hint of what is in the distance. It is a beautifully executed and worthy winner of the Olympus Award for Best Landscape Image.
Great. Well, thank you to Mark and Andrew for delivering that. Andrew, we haven't seen the last of. He's got a few more performances, I think. Next, he will be probably speaking the words of Sibo Flavina of Richer Sounds, who sponsor the Action Award. And these are the 5 highly rated images from them.
So we have Fast Start by Bob Coote, Racing Scooter by Philip Miles, Swatted for 4 by Chris Fell, Debbie Vollering wins the Women's Tour by Sarah Kelman, and Grey Squirrel by Kevin Pigney. And their overall winner was Take Off by Helen Cherry.
Led by store manager Sibo Hlavina, the Richard Sounds Cambridge team had a great time choosing the winning action image in this year's exhibition. Although the high standard made the decision a very difficult one, Helen Cherry's Takeoff was the clear favourite. Sibo noted that we all love kingfishers in the Cambridge store and see quite a few around the Cambridge and Grantchester area. It's always exciting to see them catch something, and they're very difficult birds to photograph well. The team was unanimous in selecting Takeoff as our winning action image this year.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed, everyone at Richard Sounds, for that. Very nice image. Now, it looks as though Jenny Joachim, who's office manager at Samsung, isn't able to join us this evening. And Samsung award put in the portrait category. So here are the 5 images that they rated highly.
We have On Points by Clive Downs, Cello Player by David Hone, Bare Knuckle Fighter by Philip Earle, Who Knew Santa Plays Cricket by Malcolm Brown, Grace by Robert Ellis, and their overall winner, Nina's Studio by Peter Baker.
Now, I can step in again here with a quickly constructed from an email response. Samsung have their own in-house photography club, and we have helped them with various ideas and tasks in the past, and they love doing this selection. And each year they will take their winning image and it's printed up and it's up in the Samsung dining room. Jenny came back with there's some truly amazing shots to pick from here. Obviously, they had to come up with a winning photo and some highly commended images. So they took a very photographic point of view when coming to their judging decisions. They marked them on the impact, the lighting, the story within the picture, its technical quality, the creativity, composition, and the points of interest. They selected 5 very strong images, but the clear winner in this one was Nina's Studio by Peter Baker. I think it's, I can speak on behalf of Jenny to say the lighting, the pose, this is an excellent environmental portrait and has proved very popular this year and is a very worthy winner of the Samsung Best Portrait Award.
Yes, here. Thank you, Andrew, for that, and thanks to Samsung for their continuing support. And lastly, if Andrew's got any voice left, we're again unable to be joined by Johnny Critchley Sanson, who's marketing manager at Scottsdale's, but they make the Flora or Fauna award for us. So here are their 5 favorite images.
So we have number 28 by Keith Gips, Brown Hair Making a Splash by Nick Bowman, Hornet Mimic Hoverfly by Alan Hale, Turnstone Squabble by Kevin Pigney, Wimbrel by Sarah Kelman, and their overall winner was Short-Eared Owl by John Harvey.
Scottsdale's is a family-run collection of local garden centres that served the Cambridge area for over 50 years. They've been a proud sponsor of Cambridge Camera Club for a number of years, and the staff always enjoy selecting the best flora and fauna image in the annual exhibition. Unfortunately, Johnny Critchley Samonson, Scottsdale's marketing manager, can't be with us this evening, but sends the following comment. All the images of the flora and fauna that we looked at were incredible. Trying to whittle down the images to just one winner and 5 highly commended awards was really tricky and caused much debate in the office. However, it was John Harvey's image of the short-eared owl in flight that really stood out for me. The photographer seamlessly captured the bird with its wings outstretched and those magnificent yellow eyes glaring right down the lens at the camera. For me, this perfectly represents what it would be like to be the owl's prey. Those eyes completely focused and locked to its target with very little chance to escape. Presumably, taken at dusk, or maybe dawn, the owl really stands out in the soft light given off by the sun and looking crystal clear against the hazy, grassy black background. This is a truly fantastic shot.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed. And many thanks to Scottsdales, as they say, they're long-term supporters of us. Yes, so congratulations to all those winners and many, many thanks to our generous sponsors. Now, the whole club is delighted to welcome the Mayor of Cambridge, Councillor Russ McPherson, to talk about the image he enjoyed, to announce the Mayor's favourite, and then to declare our exhibition open. Councillor McPherson.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be asked for a second time. The Mayor doesn't often get that opportunity. You only normally run for 1 year, but thanks to COVID, we were able to secure a second year, and that was quite unprecedented. But what it has meant is that we can engage in these activities. We were rather looking forward to see these for real, but at the same time, from the numbers that are on this meeting, I can see there's probably a lot of people who wouldn't otherwise have seen these images at all were it not for the technology we can now use. So the plus side of that is we can engage far more people than we perhaps would have been able to do in one evening. So it's not all bad. So welcome everyone, and thank you for inviting us. Did you wish me to speak on each one as we go?
If you'd like to talk about it,
if you'd like to,
go on, I will move it on as you recommend.
Okay. No, that's fine. This when you look at that, that is an iconic picture of Cambridge, is it not? But unusual in the snow. We don't see the snow very often. And I think Santa Claus there, polling what's left of the remnants of the visitors to the city on a very snowy and cold morning, is absolutely fabulous. Perhaps he's looking for business. It was a tough year last year. But so for me, these images that we've chosen, although you've had lots of technical advice and lots of people who have commented on the technical aspect, for us, Carol and I chose them together. It's the stories behind them, and this is definitely a Cambridge image, and we are definitely Cambridge people, and we just loved it. Next image, please. Oh, now this one, of course, it now reminds everyone of the famous films, doesn't it? But I can tell you, some years ago, further back than I care to recall, I was wild camping within the site of the Glenfinnan Pass, and watched these trains go across. Well, the only thing that you could actually see from where I was camping was the Glenfinnan Railway. There were no people or anything else to interrupt, and I spent some time there. And this has always been an iconic image, not for me simply because of the films, but because it was something I experienced myself, and I just absolutely love Rannochmoor. That, beside those wonderful steam engines, which we actually took a trip on, did we not? We did. And that is an absolutely beautiful part of the world, and a fabulously shot photo, all completely in focus. And you can see yourself climbing up those hills just in the background. I can see it now. Next image, please. And of course, it had to leave from somewhere, didn't it? So this has two aspects, really. There it is, going past the signal box on its trip. And also my father-in-law, now no longer with us, worked very heavily in the railway industry for a long time, and he loved signal boxes. And you got a trip in one, didn't you?
I did indeed.
A real signal box.
Experience.
So that was memories for us as well. And again, it's just so clear through the windows, everything in perfect focus, all that line of controls right out to the front of the engine and the houses beyond and the railway disappearing into the distance, everything in total focus, and even the clock. So I thought that was just fabulously in focus and told a whole story of its own. Next image, please. I know you particularly love this one.
I did indeed.
This is one that it's the sort of thing that we would be delighted in just hanging in the house because it's calm and right enough. Joy is not in things. I thought that was a wonderful title, and those watercolors were absolutely brilliant. And just the feel and the texture of that photograph was almost like a painting, and we just simply loved it, and we could live with it all the time. Next image, please. I know it's strange we chose this because it was having been a winner in another category, and again this was one of Carol's favourites, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
You loved this, and for all the reasons that were spoken about just a while ago, we'll try not to take up too much time because I know there's lots of other people behind us. But the light on that was absolutely fabulous, and the reflections in those wonderful pieces of art hanging on the wall there, and you could just see what was happening there, couldn't you? That someone's opened the door and she's gone, "Do you mind? I'm working." And you could just see the face there and the intensity of that work in front of that lady. Again, right out to look beyond the desk, beyond the person, out into through the window, and there's a whole world and life going on out there as well, and the whole thing that you can see. But I may be working, dear, but can you please leave the tea and buns before you go? I just thought it was fabulous. Apart from the technical abilities that were highlighted earlier, it's just a brilliant photograph. Next image, please. Now, this is a once loved house. This is in our mind, this is a family house, and you can hear the families in that house. And before all the ivy grew over the windows. And there's the picture of the families long departed, no longer living in that house, but they once did, and that was their home. And someone has come in, and perhaps someone who was used to own that house or will own that house, and has placed a bunch of beautiful pink flowers in front of the photograph of the family that they can probably still hear the echoes within their house. And we could hear them, couldn't we?
We certainly could.
And we thought this was really, really atmospheric, and you could write a whole story, a little short story around that photograph. And apart from the clarity and the actual technical photography itself, and the texture on the doors and the broken chairs and all the debris lying around, took years to accumulate, and the vines coming through the window at the bottom of the pane, just growing through that window, all absolutely completely clear. That whole photograph could tell a whole story of lives no longer there, but still have the echoes within the photograph. We thought it was fabulous, and that was our winner.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed, Councillor McPherson. Enjoyed your comments too. I wonder if I could ask you to officially declare our exhibition open.
I would absolutely love to do that. And one of the joys of doing this role for another year is being able to do that. And we'll miss it next year. We had absolutely great delight in looking at these photographs, and choosing these are very, very difficult, as everybody said, because so much of the work is fabulous. And I was particularly enthralled with the young person's photographs that I've seen earlier. 7 years old, taking photographs like that. I couldn't take them now. I wouldn't even attempt to. I just thought it's absolutely brilliant watching that. And if I could just comment on one or two others before I say we're open. The Tea for Two was also in our some of our favourites. We thought that was brilliant because Cambridge being, as some people always often say, a tale of two cities, you could see both sides of the city in that photograph. And the Glen Etive one was fabulous because it's just down the road from Glenfinnan Railway. There were so many things. I could be sitting here commenting on so many of those for the rest of the night, but I'm not going to do that. But I hope that you can hear the enthusiasm and the enjoyment that we've got from looking at these photographs, and the importance that we place on them. So we didn't just skirt over them. We spent a long time looking at them, as we did last year, and we have lots of images in our mind. But as a previous person said, someone's got to be winner. This was ours, and it is my absolute delight to declare this open.
Very much indeed, and thank you for those kind words. You're very welcome. I think we might try and find a way to invite you next year to observe.
We love that.
So before the break now, I'll ask our technical guru, Ian Wilson, to give a brief demonstration on how all the exhibition images, not only the award winners, can be navigated online via his bespoke and interactive exhibition system, to which you'll all have access via the club homepage from the end of this event. So Ian, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Let me bring that into position. So as you've seen earlier on tonight, this is the main landing page for the exhibition. And of course, you can just sit here and watch a slideshow if you want, but the aim is to be much more interactive than that. And to do that, you can either click on the main image or you can click on Explore Further. Of course, you can also go and look at the Young Photographers competition, but the navigation is identical for both. So I'll stick with the club exhibition. That will take you to the three sections of the exhibition: colour, monochrome and nature, or you can go to the whole exhibition. It genuinely doesn't matter which you go to, because you can always navigate your way around. So it really doesn't matter which one you go to. I'll start by going to the colour section. Okay, just a question about the sort order. Now, by default, as you come in, what you will find is that the sort order is random. And that's fine for the interactive experience. But if you are the kind of person that likes to look through your pictures a little bit more systematically, maybe stop, go off, have a cup of tea, come back the following day or something, that's going to get very frustrating. So if you're going to do that, I would suggest you change your sort order to something like author or title or something like that, which will fix it, which means you can come back and pick up where you left off. Okay, so you start off with a set of thumbnails, and having picked a thumbnail, you can then enlarge it. So we've got Buckle Etif More, as was mentioned just now. That allows you to bring up that image. Now, clearly you can navigate your way through forwards and backwards, and there's umpteen ways of doing this. You can click on the right-hand third of the image, will take you to the next one. If you click on the left-hand third, that will take you to the previous one. You've also got forward and backward arrows down here. And you've got, if you've got a keyboard, your cursor keys, the right arrow key takes you forward and the left arrow key takes you backwards. So there's lots of different ways of just scrolling through the images one by one and seeing them. If you like to sit back and watch a slideshow, then there is a play button down here. And if you click on play, then the whole thing will start as a slideshow. That will work at about 5 seconds per image. So you can just sit back, have a cup of tea and watch the images go by. Okay, but it's designed to be far more interactive. And in the center of all these images, you will find a section called Explore Further. If you hover your cursor over it, it'll start to light up. And as you hover over anything which ends up being underlined, is actually a hyperlink. It allows you to go off and chase that further. So in this case, we could go and find other images in the color section, other images by the author David Townsend, or one of the keywords this image has been given. So it's been given an abstract, creative image, multiple exposure, pictorial image, and it's got plants in it somewhere. So let's click on creative. So that will then take you to the creative images, which you can now step through. And you can go through each of those images and you can spot one and go, oh, that's interesting, I like that one. That is plants, I like plants. So you can click on this and it will take you to a set of images about plants. All right, you can say, oh, that's a nice one. Jenny Collier, let's go and see what else Jenny has put in. And it'll then take you to all the images that Jenny has put in. So you can use this Explore Further just to find your way around the exhibition. And as I like to think about it, going down the occasional rabbit hole. You don't have to just sit and look at the pictures one after the other. You can just go and look at images in groups, if you like, which I'll link together by type. Right, looking at that particular one, you'll find that there's a camera just bottom right of the image. If there is a camera there, it means that there is metadata. And if you're a technical person like me and you're just curious, or you're a beginner, it allows you to go in and find out how that image was shot. Hover your cursor over and the metadata appears, take the cursor away and the metadata goes away. If you'd like the metadata there all the time, you can click on the camera and then just move your way through to the next image. And if there is metadata there, then it will appear. So it allows you to find out all about the image, how it was shot, what camera it was shot on, what the focal length was, shutter speed, all that kind of stuff. And to get rid of the sticky metadata, all you do is click on the camera. And we can then close. You can either click the close button, or indeed you can click anywhere outside this area, or you could hit the escape key if you're on a keyboard. That takes you out of that. All right, so basically what you have are all the images which are in a bunch of thumbnails, basically, in all three sections, but you can filter those thumbnails. In this case, we've filtered them by an author, which is Jenny Collier. I can clear that author filter. You've already seen the section filter, so we can go to the monochrome section, or we could go to the nature section if you just wanted to look through a particular section. These can be stacked. So having got the nature section, we could then say, I want to find everything in the nature section by Keith Gipps. And that will bring up a set of images by Keith Gipps, who happens to be in the nature section. So you can stack those up. You could go, I want to know which ones have got an award. All right, so in this case, I'll say which of those have got any award. Now, don't panic at this point. It just means that there's no images for this particular set of criteria. So there are no images in the nature section by Keith Gipps that happen to have won an award. So you can either clear one of these filters, or you can just go clear all filter at the top, and that will get you back to where you started from. So you can filter by the section, you can filter by author, so you can find all the images by a particular person, for example, like that one. If you're looking for a particular award, you can find all the highly commended images. No, let me click out of that one. Find the highly commended images. You could find all the, like the Sponsors Award for the Cambridge Independent, for example. All those things, let me clear that award filter, and you can filter by keyword. So those are all the things essentially that you could do from the Explore Further section in the middle of all the images. So what else to say? I'm not sure what happened there. I must have hit go back. Right. There is also a search. You can search textually. So for example, if you're particularly interested in moths or something like that, you could type in moth there and then search, and that will bring up, yes, 4 images about moths and my grand mothers table. So it's searching within the text. So you can, if you want to search that, you can do that and just type some text in there and clear that and go back. Okay, so that's basically where we are. So all the images are here. You can go through all your sections. You can either go through them one after the other, or you can do what I've just done and go down some rabbit holes and enjoy your way around. So at that point, I will pass you back to Mark.
Great, Ian. I'm sure everyone must be well aware of the huge amount of expertise and hard work required to craft a system as professional as that. And we're extremely grateful to Ian for doing that for the club. So everyone, please do enjoy it. We now come to a break. And during this, we're first going to show a 5-minute video presentation about our club and its activities. Incidentally, after the opening, this can be accessed via the club website and on YouTube. Then we'll have a 5-minute comfort break, during which we'll show a scrolling slideshow of selected general images from the exhibition. In the second part, we'll start with a slideshow of the commended and highly commended images with a musical accompaniment. And then we'll hear from our 3 distinguished selectors about each of the images to which they gave awards. So now I make it 6 minutes past. So we'll plan to start again at 16 minutes past. And over to you, Ian, to fire up the presentation.
Welcome to Cambridge Camera Club. Founded in 1902, it's one of the oldest in the country and the biggest in East Anglia. We have a highly active membership of around 200, covering all interests, genres and specialities. It's a welcoming and collaborative club, and many regularly share their wealth of experience and expertise through the wide range of special interest groups. Currently these include the Wednesday Workshop, Aperture Group, Portrait Group, Digital Techniques and Critique Group. The Wednesday Workshop group aims to help members with the technical skills needed for successful photography. Sessions cover basic and more advanced camera techniques, all through fun activities. In the last few years, the group has experimented with light painting, high speed, multi-flash and night photography, to name just a few of the many techniques that have been explored. The aim of Aperture Group is to offer advice to those who may wish to extend their photographic skills beyond the club environment, particularly those who wish to try for photographic distinctions and to submit work to national and international exhibitions. All are encouraged to participate, presenting their work and offering advice to others. This has proved invaluable to many members who have gained licentiate, associate and even fellowship recognition with the Royal Photographic Society, and awards from the Photographic Alliance of Great Britain. The Portrait Group provides the opportunity for members to practice and enhance their photographic skills in all aspects of people portraiture, including studio and environment portraits. It also provides more experienced members with the opportunity to meet and work with like-minded photographers. The club owns a range of studio flash equipment, which is often supplemented by members. The group is always looking for new, interesting characters and the opportunity to photograph people within their own environments. The Digital Techniques Group aims to complement the various digital workshops run throughout the year by providing an informal and friendly environment for members to improve all aspects of their digital processing skills. The sessions concentrate primarily on Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, but other packages and plugins are tackled as necessary. Sessions are primarily practical in nature, and members are encouraged to suggest topics to be covered, or bring in images which they would like help and advice with. The aim of Critique Group is to help members, old and new, improve their images. This is done by the members of the group showing and analysing images with regard to composition, technical details and aesthetic appeal. Projects will often be set to encourage a particular aspect of photography. Some practical sessions will cover the general requirements for preparing digital images for viewing, cropping, etc., all in a relaxed, collegiate atmosphere. The club covers all aspects of photography. Think of a genre, whether it be landscape, wildlife or street photography, and there will almost certainly be like-minded enthusiasts within the club. So the club runs regular outings to places of interest. One such outing was to Brandon Country Park back in November 2021, timed to coincide with the emergence of the varied fungi on the forest floor. It was a great opportunity for some macro photography, and to watch the spectacle of over a dozen photographers burrowing into the leaves, contorting themselves to get the best shot. Other trips have included Madingley Hall, night photography at the Cambridge University Sidgwick site, a photo walk around Cambridge and the Grantchester Meadows, and a visit to downtown Ely looking for that classic street photo. As well as the various special interest groups and outings, the club runs a full programme of competitions, both internal and external. All these are open to full members, and several are also open to our e-members. The club also regularly competes in many external events, as well as running the annual Whittlesford Cup inter-club competition. We do hope this has given you a little insight into the wide variety of activities we at Cambridge Camera Club offer. All of this as well as the annual exhibition, which we hope you are enjoying. Please feel free to visit all the entries We really do believe we have one of the best camera club websites in the country, for members and the public alike. If you are interested in joining the club, please contact our membership secretary. Full details are on the website. Thank you for watching this short video and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Welcome back, everybody. Just to remind you, the video about our club is available via the website and on YouTube. So at the beginning of the second section, we have a 3.5 minute or so scrolling slideshow of all the commended and highly commended exhibition images. That's those that didn't quite reach the top single awards. And that'll run with a musical accompaniment. Thank you, Ian. Very good. So we'll now meet our selectors who've been sitting very patiently behind their screens, and we'll hear their thoughts on the club competition category winners. Now, all three are distinguished trained photographic judges, and each scored every submitted image between 2 and 5 points. And this is the method used for selecting international photographic exhibitions. So our selectors this year are Mark Buckley-Sharp, who holds the photographic distinctions ARPS, CPAGB, and ON-PAGB. Peter Prosser, the APAGB, and Colin Southgate, FRPS, and DPAGB. And I'm enormously grateful to them for their hard work and long time taken on behalf of our club. So I'll hand you over now to Mark Buckley-Sharp, who will talk about the image in his Selectors Award category.
Right, well, thank you very much, Mark, as well, who's chairing this session. Yeah, on behalf of all the selectors, may I say that we had a very enjoyable time doing the selection. And when it came to you've got multiple sections, and when it came to the various sections, we did actually agree quite quickly on all of our choices for the individual special sections. And then we've all got our own Selectors Award. So this one is mine. Now, I'm very pleased to hear that your club majors on education, because I really agree with that. I think everything we do in clubs is to a greater or lesser extent to be treated as an education. And I include competitions in that. One of the beauties, I think, of club photography is the huge variety, and you've seen that in the exhibition already. Everyone can do their own thing. Nobody's committed to pleasing on a commission, but that introduces a problem, because any club member who you get along as a judge is also going to have their personal genre, and that means that frequently the images that a judge such as myself, or I don't like judge, commentator, is looking at is not going to be in their own personal genre. And so you have to avoid dropping into a sort of automatic quick decision-making mode, and stand back slightly and be more conscious in your comments and your thoughts and your decisions. So what were my thoughts on looking at this particular image? And I categorized, there were several of them, and they went through my mind one after another. The first one that went through my mind is, it's really quite overall brown. And I thought, well, you know, nature is very much an illustrative, factual discipline. Is it going to be a problem if it's overall brown, because it's going to be difficult to have the subject stand out? What would be the effect of, let us say, the background being green? And the second thought that came into my mind was, that wasn't a very good idea, because if you really had a greener background, it would start to clash quite a lot with the principal subject. And then there'd be an argument in your mind, and it would sort of stress you a bit. So I thought, fine, brown all over is absolutely great, and it's the right choice. But we still want the principal subject to stand out. And when we look at the principal subject here, it really does stand out, although it's brown and it's on a brown background. Why does it do that? Because now we come into the unique feature of photography, because here's the photographer lining up behind what's probably a very big and expensive lens, and getting this particular picture. But if you suddenly move the camera away, that is not what you would see, because your eye and brain focus the entire image. So you would in fact see the background in focus. And that, of course, would not allow the principal subject to stand out. So by bringing in the camera, and by having a skilled photographer who knows how to set the camera up, you then achieve this image, which is, to my mind, a beautiful representation of this particular bird, with which, of course, not being a nature photographer, I'm not familiar, but I have to appreciate the photographic technique which has gone into this image and the achieved outcome. And I'll just finish by saying that when you look at an image, I treat it only as a piece of evidence, and it's evidence of the photographer's skill. And the award, therefore, goes not to the image, but to the photographer. So I think this one is Kevin Pigney. I didn't know it at the time, but as soon as I see his name, I do recognize him as a well-known and expert nature photographer. So well done.
Hand on now to Colin Southgate.
Yes, I certainly share Mark's feelings about the wonderful exhibition. It was a delight to see all the pictures, and you do have to open your heart and mind to a wide variety of pictures. And I'm starting off here with something, shall we say, a little wacky, a little different. And it's Clive Downs' picture of what looks like a royal flush in his hand. Yes, indeed, a royal flush. And it's all in the mind with this particular photographer, in this image anyway, because he's dreamt up this idea of reflecting the hand of cards firmly in the glasses, in the darkened glasses, and it makes a very enjoyable and dynamic image. And we have a very simple triangular composition with the hand of cards reflected twice, making a total of 3 objects that focus our attention. Everything else is subservient to that. And it's an idea I certainly greatly appreciated and certainly amused me. So that was my Selector's Award. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Colin. We'll continue to cycle through the selectors, and next, of course, is Peter Prosser.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's Gentoo Penguins by Jane Moore. Mark was talking earlier, actually, sort of nature. This one really sets nature both in the fact that it's penguins, which are fine, but it's very much an environmental image as well. From just looking at the image with no knowledge whatsoever of penguins as a species, you would say, first of all, they live by the sea, they feed off that, they go in a very cold environment. We have layers of ice and snow on the foreground there. They have a community which walks away, goes somewhere or other. In fact, yes, we know they're going to go to a nesting site. And we have an idea of the weather environment. We have dark clouds, etc. So all in all, I do get a very cold feeling, the life cycle perhaps of the penguins. But not only that, actually, we have great leading lines. We go from the water up onto the ledge of the rock. We then have a welcoming committee, which I rather like, actually, these white-fronted immigration control. And then the penguins go past them, and then we have the backs of the penguins walking up a rather grubby walkway and pathway up to the top, and then drop over the top of the snow-covered hill. And then we have a few penguins, which we can see their wings and flippers, just that, and their heads as they disappear over the other side to something else which we cannot see. I think overall, I do get a great feeling of the penguin life cycle, their environment, and much, much more than just a straightforward photograph of a penguin or even a series of penguins. A great image, and one I really appreciate. One of the other things we'll come on to later on, actually, is there were a lot of very, very good images. And we do see this section. We're asked when we go out judging or looking at images, choose your 1, 2, and 3 of the night. And this is sort of this way. And it's almost a question of asking, which is your favorite child? But it's almost impossible to answer, at least with any fairness. But this was my choice, and I'm really pleased to have seen it. Thank you.
Back to Mark now. Just cycle through, gentlemen, when you're ready.
Yeah, okay, so this is called Indefinite Architecture. Well, you couldn't get much more different from the bird picture, which I just commented on. And indeed, both of them are so disparate from my own personal interest, which is travel documentary, where my photography is secondary to the spoken word. And here we're looking at, well, is it an abstract? Is it a building? I'm going to think of it as an abstract in mono for now. I think a lot of us have difficulty with abstracts, in understanding them, in appreciating them, well, if you're going to be asking us to score it, to assessing them. And I've become more and more interested in the psychology of how we view images. And I think the first thing you have to do when you look at something is you do have to know whether it's dangerous. You know, that's a biological imperative to whether to run away. And so there's quite a premium on knowing what it is you're looking at, to know whether it's dangerous or not. And when you look at an abstract, that becomes a bit difficult because you don't quite know if it's dangerous. So you try and make up a story in the image space, you know, which tries to let you understand it. And it can help, therefore, to have at least some composition, at least some clue as to what it might be, even if you're wrong, you know, which is often the case with an abstract. In your own mind, you have to try and understand it. And I'm looking at this and I think it possibly something to do with a building. So at least it's not going to move and you know, hit me. Now, this is in monochrome. Now, the tradition that we ask for in monochrome is we like to see a white somewhere and we like to see a black somewhere and then the tones in between. Sometimes you do see monochrome images which they're all a bit sort of mid-grey and it becomes a bit slushy. I'm not sure there really is a definite white or a definite black in this image. And, you know, I don't mind that at all. I think that it's the shapes in the different amounts of grey, because it's not overall one grey colour. There is definite shape and tone in here. And so, and I think that this is absolutely deliberate. As I said, right with my other image, you don't give the award to the image, you give the award to the photographer on the basis of the evidence. And you look at an image and you say, what has the photographer hopefully done? What is their aim? Have they achieved their aim? And because you do have to distinguish that from the suggestion that the photographer might have made a mistake. I look at this and I think, well, you know, I feel that that's absolutely intentional. And I feel it's nice and quiet. And the fact that it hasn't got a definite white or black, I don't think comes into the equation. So we were in the creative section. And as I said earlier, all of our judges, I think we came to our decisions very quickly and pretty much unanimously. You know, at least two of us persuaded the third very quickly. So we collectively were very pleased to award Indefinite Architecture by David Hone, the Creative Award.
Yeah.
I'll hand over to Colin for nature.
Yes, indeed. And what a beautiful nature picture this is. I mean, this is nature's art, isn't it? It's such an artistic shape that it describes across the picture by this absolutely beautiful caterpillar. There is almost a fractal quality to the image because the detail is so finely recorded on the skin. The closer I go in, the more I can see. And that's a wonderful thing. And it is all complicated by, uncomplicated by the simple composition and greatly assisted by the simplicity of the composition and the uncluttered background. Once again, we have an image here with a beautifully out of focus background to really make the caterpillar stand out almost in 3D. A privet hawk moth caterpillar by Alan Hale wins the Nature Award.
Right. Yes, we'll move on to the travel. This one's interesting in as much as it's perhaps not it is not definitely the standard travel photograph. We do see an awful lot. People go on their holidays, take the photographs and then produce them in the camera clubs. And frequently when we do see them, the comment, usually by me or at least other people on the judging circuit, is it's a shame really you weren't there at the right time. Basically you're on a bus or something and it arrives there at 11 o'clock, you took the photograph and you think I should have been there early morning, late evening at the golden hours, etc. This image very much was planned. I'm almost certain of it. I don't know, but I can't think of any other way of doing this but by planning it. You knew the location, you set yourself up, you chose your silhouette, in which case actually I think it suits the travel in the broadest term, in as much as you're now receiving information from the farthest reaches of the known universe, or at least they would hope to, and that's coming in via the antenna system we can actually see before us. It's an interesting shape, which does actually help. It's well balanced in the shape, in the format of the picture. The dish itself is pretty well central, but the support is on the right-hand side. There is a rising horizon on the left to sort of balance the weight of the darkness, so it doesn't feel like it's going to slide down one side. And what's more, you were there at the right time and arranged to have a sunset directly behind the dish system. We all have a background of trees, etc., which are just supportive, and we very much look at the structure of the dish, the support structure of the rotational assembly, and then this fabulous sunset behind. And I am sure that you planned that, you waited for the weather forecast, you knew the place to go to, and you set yourself up almost certainly with a tripod, and you waited for the right moment. At least that's the impression I get. And certainly from the travel perspective, very much says it's about as far as you can travel or receive something, and that's recorded the image very well indeed. A really fantastic travel for us, certainly an unusual travel photograph. Thank you. Back to Mark.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo Peter's comments, I mean, it's conceptual travel, wasn't it, as opposed to actually necessarily, going to a place. But this one actually is going to a place, obviously Venice. Now, I suppose over the years, I haven't been to Venice, but one of the other great joys of club photography is you don't actually have to go halfway around the world, because the halfway around the world is brought to you by all the other people who go halfway around the world. And so somebody's been to Venice, and this particular viewpoint of the row of gondolas leading across to, and I'm not quite sure the name of that building over there, but no matter. This particular viewpoint is not unusual. However, what is unusual, and we're here in the color pictorial section, is the treatment of it in this really quite ethereal approach. So you do get, it's entirely understandable, it's not abstract in that sense, but you can see that the gondolas, they're all painted black, or the insides of them are blue. I thought gondolas sometimes were red, but no matter. You could have changed the color for all I know. And the viewpoint you've got, the spire is not obscured by any of the posts. The balance across the image works very, very nicely. Sometimes a row of things, it can be a bit of a block, but I don't think that's the case here. And so again, as a collective judge award, I think we were very pleased to give Gondolas in Venice by Sheila Wooster the award in color pictorial. I'll hand over, where are we?
Colin.
Colin, yes.
Thank you. Yes, what a remarkable picture, a remarkable study of a fighter's physique. And that is how it presents. I don't know if he is a fighter or not, but it certainly presents as that. It's carefully sculpted with light that just glances across his muscles. Yet it is that very restraint in the application of the lighting that models those contours even more dramatically. It's a very deserving award winner. Clive Downs, People Award, Colour.
We now come to the Monochrome Award. And my apologies to Nick Murrell, who had contact, which is the winner of Travel, because I didn't actually announce his name or the title of his image. My apologies. However, this one is Time to Go by Peter Baker. Very much a monochrome image. I think a large way, if it was in colour, and I would love to be able to sort of do a comparison, but I think in colour it would not work. I'm sure there would be other distractions in the image in the far distance, that would actually take the eye away from what I think is the critical part, is the mature hands. Looks like ladies' hands, married lady with a ring on a finger, the hands loosely held together, sort of resigned look. I could make a whole story up just on the hands leaning out of a rather old carriage door from a train circa 1960s, etc., that sort of area. Focus very much on that. We've talked earlier actually on nature of having a wide aperture lens such that the background then becomes very diffuse and your depth of field is very narrow, but it does focus your attention on the subject you want us to see. In this case, the door itself and the hands, we don't have any more information, but I can make a story up about that, of a lady leaving a location which she's loved and moving on to somewhere else, etc. And I can make that just on a pair of hands out of a carriage window. And I found that absolutely amazing. Works extremely well in monochrome, and I'm sure it is the preferred John to produce that image. A really fantastic image. So well done, Peter Baker.
I think it's probably me again, isn't it? Are we going to go on to, I believe this is now the winning image. So what we were asked to do was to, when we picked all our winners from each of the categories, I think we had to decide which category won overall. Is that correct to the organisers? Okay.
This was a category winner in its own right.
Yes.
Because it
yes,
was
and then it's also
monochrome people, and then it was out of the...
Yeah, so this is monochrome people. We're all going to comment on this, I understand. So you can see it here, it's called Contemplation by Malcolm Brown. And I think what struck all of us was the sense of how the face comes out at us, how the blacks have been managed in this image. And actually, interesting, when I saw this, when you sent me the pack just before tonight, it was my impression that the original, where the face was a little more to the right, but it doesn't matter. It's fairly central. And it will depend on how it's rendering on your screens at the moment, but I can assure you that the rendition in the hair is absolutely superb, and the rendition on the face as well. It's very easy to get hot spots on a face in a portrait, and I mean, the traditional way of dealing with that is to use powder, but whatever has been done, the rendition, the molding of the face and the rendition in the hair and its placement in this dark environment really makes the figure stand out. So I'll hand over to my colleagues to comment on this image as well. So Colin, yeah.
Yes, I concur with your comments. I mean, she's such a handsome countenance, isn't it? And it displays a sort of certain insouciance. It's beautifully lit, almost shadowless. We are, thanks to judicious cropping, firmly focused on her lovely face. Behind her, her hair sweeps into the darkness, and before her, space to gaze into. A very worthy winner. And that was, oh, I should have mentioned it's by Malcolm Brown. Contemplation by Malcolm Brown.
And what do I say in addition to that? Really very little, actually. Technically, it's sort of faultless. If you see the original, as we did on the judging day, absolutely fantastic individual hairs. The skin tones came out absolutely great. We can see a shape to the face. It is a three-dimensional shape, and she is a three-dimensional person coming out. The eyes are alive, interested in what's going on, and a really fantastic piece of monochrome work. You've even managed to get the hair to diffuse the neckline, which could be quite bright, by having the hair across the neck. Yeah. Of course, your eye then focuses very much on the face, which is really where you want us to be looking. A real cracking image. As a friend of mine once said from an image he once saw, there is only one thing wrong with this image. It's not mine.
Yes. Here, here.
Very good, very good. Well, many, many congratulations, particularly to Malcolm for the image of the year. I heartily agree with everything said there, and indeed to everyone whose images have received an award, both in the sponsors and the club selectors classifications, and also to everyone who's had images accepted. I just mentioned I really enjoyed hearing all three of our selectors' perceptive comments. That's something we don't get in person on opening day. Occasionally we might have one of them, but that is a Zoom advantage. It'd be nice to try and capture some of that, perhaps. Anyway, now I've got a happy task of thanking everybody. First of all, to the Mayor for so generously giving his time this evening, and again for his perceptive and enthusiastic and enjoyable comments. To all our sponsors, we wouldn't be here otherwise. To our three selectors, Mark, Peter and Colin. To Ian Wilson. To Jane Moore over the Young Photographers competition. And of course, particularly to Gabby Barnard for her organisation, which ran like clockwork as ever, and including her quite large team of willing helpers, but I'll mention particularly Andrew Colgan, Tim Marchant, who did the video, and John Bulpit, but there are a number of others. Of course, we wouldn't be here also if our club members hadn't entered all their fine work, and it's been great to see that. I'm also very grateful to everyone who's joined us online this evening to support the event. Please do share the link to your friends and family so they and you can enjoy the images going forward. There's a link to Ian's exhibition presentation system on the club homepage for both members and the general public, and it'll be active from the end of this event. And shortly there'll also be a link to a recording of the event. So have a great evening, everyone. Zoom will remain open for the next approximately 15 minutes, and we'll have a scrolling slideshow of the award-winning images, and it'll then close. So good night, and many thanks for coming. you.